and then you give you the confidence to when and where to apply them, and knowing that like you might buy jumbo eggs, and even though I said buy large eggs or whatever, but then you know when I'm going to bake with them, then I need to do this, or you know, and not care so much. We want to live in reality, and we want to live in a place where we can still have fun with cooking and not feel like you have to, you know, be like a tin soldier and follow things to a T. You want to, like, you know, move with it, live with it. I'm guilty of never reading those parts of the recipe, but I will now. Read mine, just me, read mine, Nito. Just, you know, some of them just will have some tips and tricks just to take notice of. Just above my recipe, there'll be setting you up for success. I always have the same format. So it's setting you up for success. It is tips and tricks. Then there'll be sometimes troubleshooting, and then there'll be like frequently asked questions of like, my rice is overcooked, or like my rice is mushy, or, you know, my cake is dense, you know, and it's like simple troubleshooting. When you guys ask me questions, I try and then implement them into the recipe and put them in that ask section so that I can answer them. Because if you guys have a question, majority of the time other people have the same question, they just haven't asked. So you're helping others. Cool? Now, hey Langy, good, how have you been? It's nice to see you. You've been busy? Okay, so we need a pan. Whatever. Hope whatever's good. This is my pan. This is, if you're in Australia, this is from Woolworths. It's mint. They're $8, and they're kind of like my go-to tins for nearly everything. Since I've got the Nordic ware, I like them because they're a bit bigger, but I really love these. These are perfect for making Detroit-style pizza in them. They could be a little bit higher, but these are really great for making focaccia too. You can make my focaccia loaf in one of these, and it's nice and fat. It roses up nicely. I'm just trying to find my... How's the cooking? We're just getting into it. We're just babbling, waffling on some tips and tricks and whatnot. Just getting my... Where's my little one? Trying to find my measuring tape. Oh, there it is. Okay, I got this out, but this is my little one that stays in here. So this is a 26 centimeter or 10 inches by 15 inches or 38 by 25 centimeters. So nice size pan. And we're going to use that for our Swiss roll or our jelly roll. You can get a jelly roll pan as well. And all we're going to do, you just want to line it like that. Very simple. And put that aside. What you can do, because you're only going to see one side of the cake once we roll it. So what I like to do, because it doesn't really sit in, so you can like that, scrunch it up, kind of sits a little bit better. Sometimes with some cakes I get nervous that these crinkles come out in the texture of the bottom of the cake, whereas this, it doesn't really matter with a jelly roll because I'm going to roll it up and you won't see it, and the top will become the bottom. So like that. All right, so it's in here. Now we're going to get our ingredients out. So this is a sponge cake recipe that I'm trialing to see if it works in a jelly roll. If it does, then it'll be great. We might need to make 2 or 3 versions. We'll see today. So what we're going to do is we're going to get the butter. Let me get everything out. Butter, plain flour, baking powder, corn flour, eggs, vanilla extract, how many of you guys like sponge cake? You know, like a whole Victoria sponge or sheet cake? Frozen mash is in the mashed potato. What type of mash? Okay. I'm just looking. So we're going to do dry ingredients and wet ingredients, like this. So wet ingredients, we're going to add our eggs. So 4 eggs and an egg yolk. I'm going to test the difference of separating the eggs versus not. That's the first test. This one here, I'm going to take out some egg white. It's big. Oh, double yolker. Okay. Just going to take out about a tablespoon of the egg white. 1.5. Okay. Can't remember the last time I ate sponge. Ooh. Ming, welcome in. Okay, that's a double yolker, but I'm going to add a yolk just to be safe. There we go. Now, that in there, just making sure I'm just doing, put that aside. We're going to grab out plain flour, so plain flour, corn flour, baking powder, and some salt into here. And we need to weigh to make sure. I told you guys that my measuring cup broke, my third of a cup measuring cup broke. So I went and bought a new set. I mean, I don't know if I should just have double because I use them all the time. But this new set from Woolworths doesn't have a 3/4 of a cup. They expect me to do 3 1/4. Oh my God. Okay. Big key for my grandma before she passed. She's always been the queen of sponge cake in our house, or in our family and our country region when I grew up in the rural country. I have been trying to work on a copycat recipe for hers, but I mentioned it includes custard powder. So I'm trying to create my own recipe using her tips and tricks, the things that she recommends. And one of the biggest things is triple sifting your flour. So the 2 things is whipping your eggs until they're really pale and thick enough that you can do like a figure 8 motion on the surface. The other thing she always said was triple sifting your flour ingredients. So, you know, your corn flour, your baking powder and your flour, you want to make sure they're really, really light and no lumps whatsoever. So, I think it's a 1/3 of a cup, which I don't have here. Cool, man. Where is it. There we go. Third of a cup. So I'm aiming for about 50 grams. Yes, 50. Cool. And then corn flour. We're going to okay. 3 tablespoons corn flour. Oh no. It's the issue that like you lightly compress something and then especially corn flour you get heaps more. Did you say corn flour? What did I say? Corn flour, cornstarch. What did I say? Corn flour. Yep. Okay. Half a teaspoon of baking powder. I thought I heard you say corn flour, but I'm not familiar with that. Cornstarch. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Oh, sweet. 1.8 grams. All right. And then we want to get, it's a little bit tricky, but put that there. And just kind of like bang the sides so it loosens it up from the bowl, like that. Is the purpose of it to be like a thickener? So it results in a less gluten. So it creates like a thickener, like the starch in plain flour, but it doesn't have gluten in it. So it creates a substitute for cake flour to give a lighter, fluffier cake. So yeah. All right, so bang like this. And so the aim of this is to make sure we've got no lumps. It separates the granules of flour and it also combines the baking powder and the cornstarch throughout the plain flour so that we're getting like an equal distribution like that. Cool. Fabulous. And I forgot the salt, so we'll just put a little bit of salt in there too. But we are using butter, so you can use oil if you want, but we're going to use some butter. Remember, when you're substituting butter for oil for butter, you need to be aware that butter is about 80 to 83% fat, and the rest of it is like milk solids and water. So when we're substituting that for oil is 100% oil, 100% fat. So you need to use a little bit more butter. So you need to account for that 15% difference with more butter for a substitution for oil, or the other way around. So if you have, for instance, 100 grams of butter, you would only add about 85 to 80, I would say 85 or 83 grams of oil, because if you need to add like what we're going for is the moisture content. In the cake, the water content, if we're using butter, is going to evaporate, and you're only going to be left with that 85 grams or 85% of oil to create moisture in your cake. The rest of it's going to leave. Whereas you think of like someone, what analogy have I got? Let's think. Okay, so people come over to, I'm thinking, all right, so if butter comes to your house to help you, I don't know what I can think of talking about. All right, so imagine if butter comes to your house to help you move furniture, right? And butter comes over, and then the muscle portion of the butter is only 85%. So when things get tough, 15% is gonna leave. So you're only gonna have 85 people gonna be like helping you move. This is such a weird analogy. But whereas oil's all muscle, and oil, there's 100 people are gonna be there to help you move your couch. I don't know where that it came from, but that's the best thing I've got at the moment that I can think of. So let's just move on. But yeah, if you get what I mean, you're substituting oil for butter, butter for oil. Just remember that butter's not all there, and you need to add more of it to compete with oil, okay? Anyway, we need to get 45 grams of butter. God, now I've got it. So it should be about 2 tablespoons. 2 to 3 tablespoons. Yeah, let's go 3 tablespoons. 6. Not that. So warm butter, just melted, not hot. Well, I think we get it. We need oil to move the sofa, right? Yeah. So they're not built the same. You need more to if your couch is really heavy, you're gonna need more butter to move it compared to oil. You're gonna you know what I mean. Okay, 0 that. Okie dokie. So we've got our dry ingredients, we've got our eggs. We're gonna start whipping. Just making sure I've got everything ready. I need 120 grams of sugar. Just here. And we're gonna put that in this. Okay. 0. Oh, 119. Half a cup. Okay. Salt, plain flour, corn flour, or cornstarch. Remember, corn flour is cornstarch, the same. Baking powder, butter, vanilla. Cool. Let me get my beaters. Okay. So let's chat for a while there, did you? Okay, sugar, butter, sugar and eggs, sorry. Helps if you turn it on. Okay, so I want you to look at the colour of it now. The eggs are very yellow, cage-free, organic, whatever fancy eggs these are. See how yellow they are? But I want you to notice the colour in general. We're going to whip them until they're pale and thick, very thick. So the idea for this is we want to be able to do a figure 8 movement like this. I'm moving in a figure 8, like drawing an 8 on the surface. But you can't see anything, right? Like there's nothing there. It's very liquidy. I'll show you the consistency we want to get it to. Look at these cups now. You need a stand mixer for this if you wanted to. So now already it's starting to get paler. But we want to whip these for, you know, maybe 3 to 4 minutes, even longer. You want to get them really, really puffy. And I should have preheated my oven. What temperature? 180. Should have put the ovens here so I could reach them. I gotta do it. 180. I'm going to do the bake function, no fan, okay? Remember, if you are using a fan forced oven, like a convection oven with a fan in it, you want to reduce the temperature, so 180 down to 160, and then 370, 350 down to 325. Just reduce the temperature slightly. Baked goods, like cake, it's one of the things that I don't always apply to myself and use. I usually use the fan quite often. Majority of the time I bake. However, non-fan oven actually helps the cake rise more because the air is circulating, and when the air circulates it makes a crispier surface and prevents the cake from getting too much volume. Because basically what happens is when the cake or the starch comes in contact with heat, it gelatinizes, and steam, it stays, if there's steam in the oven and moisture in the cake, it stays gelatinous or pliable, stretchy for longer, and then you get more rise in your cake. However, if there's a fan in the oven, it dries it out and prevents it from gelatinizing. So it will rise a little bit and then stop. And it restricts the cake growth. Can you repeat everything you're saying again after the mixer's off? You cannot hear it? Can't hear anything? Sorry. Just stand away. Sure, I can do that. For cakes, is it best to turn off the fan function? Yes. Ideally, yes. Okay. Hey, monkey tamer. Okay, I just wanted to show you the difference in the colour But then also, look at that. See how you can nearly see? It doesn't stay there for long enough, so we need to keep going. Too thick and too pale. So keep going for a little bit longer. Is the mixer really loud? Maybe I was standing too close to it as well. Sorry. I should know better. I didn't. No, I don't want to talk. Yeah, it does get really fluffy, doesn't it? Okay, can you see that? That's how thick we want it. That's the important thing. It stays on the surface for at least 3 seconds. Can you see? It's like airplane white noise now. Okay. Okay. So now just kind of skim your fingers over the beater to release the extra. You don't want to bang too much because you might deflate. So just give it a little wiggle like that. Amazing how much louder everything is when the jet engine shut off after landing. You're lucky it wasn't a crash land. That's how sometimes my streams go. Kidding. Am I? Okay, so that is your result. The other tip that I have that I need to remember to write down is using a balloon whisk, okay? This, for years, for about at least 10 years, I could not make my grandma's sponge. It was 4 ingredients, and I could never, 4 or 5 ingredients, I could never get it right. And I didn't understand, like, it kept coming out lumpy, or if I mixed the flour in too much, it would be deflated and it would be like dense. And I just couldn't figure out how she did it. And I would ring her and she's like, just be gentle and incorporate the flour into the eggs and just don't mix it too much. I was like, how? Like, what am I doing wrong? And then I figured out this is the trick. She's a lot more patient than me. I'm not very patient, if you know that. This is the biggest thing. The biggest thing. Everything's the biggest thing, but when I try and tell you guys details. So put the whisk in there, and what you want to do is sift your flour ingredients over like this. You can do it in batches if you want, but what you want to do is use your whisk and let it fall through the whisk like this, rather than kind of trying to beat it in. And this is like as gentle as I get. But we're trying not to deflate the cake too much, and just around the sides to scrape the sides of the bowl and just let it fall through the whisk. Adding your left over. Cool. So balloon whisk and then let it fall through like that. Give it a little wiggle. And just give it a little wiggle to fall. So we're trying not to deflate it, especially because this recipe here, we're going to add butter to it next. And we want to combine that. So like with my grandma's recipe, this would be the final step. And then we would, with custard powder, it already has fat in the powder. It's like a dehydrated like milk powder. So then you would mix and then put it in the cake tin and bake it. Whereas this recipe uses butter. It's a bit more moist. and we need to do an extra step, so we need to be extra gentle here. Okay, so the next thing is our butter. Drizzle it over here. 1. So 3.5 tablespoons of melted butter. Okay, so you're being extra gentle. And this is going to make sure that your cake is really moist. Okay? And it's really important that your ingredients are all at room temperature, because if you have cold eggs, this is going to make the batter cold, and when you try and whip in your melted butter, it's going to solidify and you're going to get lumps, and we don't want that. Okay? Bit of wiggle. It's glossy now. And remember, if you deflate the egg slightly, you've got the backup of that baking powder that's going to give it some, you know, some oomph. Okay, don't tap on the bin. Tap on your finger like that. Yes. Delish. So this is test number 1. Sponge cake to see if it makes a good jelly cake. Okay. Shit, I didn't put the vanilla in. I don't want to mix it in now. I should have meant to have vanilla in it. Damn it. We're going to do another test anyway, so it should be fine. Okay. Pour it in. Gentle. And you don't want to do it from a high height as well, because that potentially can collapse the air bubbles. Okay, now you use a spatula. Oh, wrong one. There are some streaks of butter that I can see that weren't distributed well enough. So that's something that I need to work on. Okay. Okay, so I need to write this down. Low height when pouring, balloon whisk. What other tips did I say? I need to write it all down so I remember by the time I go and type this all up. Thick, pale eggs. Okay, figure 8, yep. I like to see you on Bake Off or similar. I don't know, I'm too nervous. Okay, like that. Beautiful. Level it off as much as you can. Okay. Hopefully the oven's not hot enough. Let it sit there for 2 seconds. I don't want to put it in a cold oven. Can I use that? Yes. I want to reuse as much dishes because we're going to be making a few. Hopefully that works. But I want to test. What do I want to test? We'll see how that comes out and then we'll test something else. The idea, okay, so the tips. Thick, pale egg mixture with figure 8 motion on surface for 3 seconds. About triple the volume. balloon whisk to incorporate the flour. Pour, mix into tin from low height. Figure 8 balloon whisk. Anything else? Oh, room temperature. Prevent butter solidifying. Cool. Anything else? Oh yeah, add the vanilla when you meant to. What? Something that's burning. What is burning? There's nothing. The oven's clean. And I'm letting all the air out. Oh, a bit of phyllo pastry. Okay. I'm going to put it in the oven because it can't sit on the surface because it's going to... Do you have an aircon fan on, Molly? I'm jealous. Do I? You do. You have one fan. In this whole room, there's only one split system. What's going on here? There's heat coming out of the... I don't know. Yeah, okay, it's normal. I was like, well, I can feel air coming out of the oven, but it's normal. When do you add the vanilla? How much? You add the vanilla to the butter and 2 teaspoons. Vanilla extract. Vanilla extract. Or vanilla bean paste. Don't use never. All right. If you learn one thing from me and I'm going to make you do one thing, there'll probably be a few things in the future, but if you have imitation vanilla in your pantry, please throw it out. Please. Please. Vanilla, imitation vanilla or vanilla essence, please throw it out. Please get some vanilla extract or better quality vanilla bean paste with seeds. It'll just give you a better product. Imitation vanilla is fake and the flavour is no good. I can see your plant moving. Which one? That one there? Oh yeah. WA weather always makes this Melburnian jealous. We lived in Melbourne for a few years and I do miss, Exceed and I, we prefer cooler weather and like rain and things like that. So I kind of do miss it. I don't miss like the 4 seasons of like you go out and you prepare to wear like winter clothes and then the sun comes out and then you get like really hot. I don't miss that. That was the same thing yesterday. I was wearing track pants and then I had to take my pants off in my office and then eventually I had to go and put shorts on because it was so hot. I was sweating. Yeah, you switched to vanilla bean paste? Yes, I love that. I don't have that. I have extract and paste. Great, love it. So yeah, you add the butter, the vanilla bean paste to the butter. I'm wearing an hoodie. What kind of hoodie you got? All right, so The test for this is if it rolls effectively and if we need to make any changes to it. If you've been on stream before, I make chocolate cake. An oodie is like an oversized blanket hoodie. They're like, I have a real oodie and a not like a fake oodie, and I love them. I think that the oodie needs to be really cold, or it's longer and it's a bit heavier. Whereas I have a one with unicorns on it that I got for my birthday from my brother. That's like a knockoff, and I like that as well. I have a fake Kogan hoodie, nice. The weather where I am in New South Wales at the moment is all over the place. I'm wearing my hoodie too. Hey, I like it. What kind of print do you have on yours? Mine is Friends. So I'll show you for those that don't know. Oh, it's so good. Guys, it's looking so good. So this hopefully will be the recipe on Monday. We're just going to figure out the filling. So I got 2. We did a collaboration with Oodie. We did a sponsored stream. And they sent me one. But basically, because we've just got some time. Woo! Okay, this is my knockoff Oodie. It's like a big, it's got unicorns. It's not very me. Like I'm a more like a black, grey type gal, if you don't know. But Exceed has the QuakeCon one. I've never been able to wear the QuakeCon one because Exceed stole that. That's his. So I have these 2. This is the official Oodie one. It's huge. Purple tie-dye and a Monsters Inc. So I love Friends. This is much better quality. It's just a bit heavy sometimes. So sometimes I just wear it with like no pants on underneath because it's so long. All right, that looks looking fantastic. What did I say for bake time? Didn't set a timer. That's my toxic trait when testing recipes is I never test times. I always forget. Okay. 10 to 15 minutes. How long's it been in? I'd love, like we've got the Google Home here. I was thinking of getting like a hub that has a screen on it that tells, like I can put like a timer and see it. 2 minutes? No, it's been in there longer than that, surely. I realised I turned fan on, so I've just turned that off. So you want to let it go lightly brown. And we should get onto the cream. You put it in at 133 uptime. What's the uptime now? It's been 9 minutes. You're an amazing human, you know that. You're above average, Cad. Thank you. My toxic trait is that I have take a calculator to the supermarket to keep track of things. Hold on. You take a physical calculator? You don't use a calculator on your phone? Tell me your toxic traits, guys. What do you, as a joke, what is the funny thing that you guys, that you do, that you think is silly, that you don't realise, you know, are both? Okay. I'm in the Northern Europe, so we do get snow in the winter and so on. Nice. We don't get anything cool. I don't have any toxic traits. I'm super humble. My toxic trait is not being able to open milk cartons. Hold on. You mean like a choc milk? Son, you need an Oodie. Oh, so I need an Oodie. Son, you need an Oodie. So you do need an Oodie. Lara, yes. We had a code. I don't know if exclamation mark Oodie still works. You could get 20% off, I think. $20. Maybe $20. That's unfortunate for you, Nido. Not like a long life one where you twist the top, like pull the sides and pull out the triangle spout thing. That's a bit. If only SE was not on PTO. The bug. I take budgeting very intensely, so that's why I take the calculator. Yeah, okay. I do everything on my phone or online order. I just punch a hole in them. Yeah. Well, the ones where that you get the carton and flip up the little nozzle bit, a little bit of plastic, and you punch the straw through. Okay. You want to gently press the cake, gently, to see if it springs back. If it doesn't, another few minutes. Okay? If we were gonna, we need to discuss the filling. Would you rather whipped cream, like a stabilized whipped cream, like a chantilly cream, or a cream cheese, not thick like the carrot cake, but like a little bit thicker than whipped cream filling to go with strawberries and jam? It's going to be a Swiss roll or a jelly cake roll. Do you want a thicker cream filling or like a really light cream filling? That's my question. Oh my God, it looks so good. I think it's ready. Hard choice. And also, I'm not trying to persuade you, but the little bit of cream cheese, like a little bit, it gives a little bit of a tang. You know, it's not so sweet. Because I'm not a fan of regular whipped cream. Okay. Oh my God, it's beautiful. What a beautiful. Okay, part of me also wants to make this sponge, while we're doing this, into a proper sponge cake, a thick one. Okay. Of course I had to put the camera facing there. I can't reach it to turn it around. Hold on. Well, I'm looking at this one. All right, that's what it looks like. Look at that. Pour the champagne, pour the champagne. Okay, so it's going to deflate slightly. That's no issue. Don't stress. If I was a cooling rack, what is a Victoria sandwich? So Victoria sandwich is a sponge cake layered with jam and cream, possibly strawberries as well. Okay. Where is it? What? Oh, there it is. Where is it there? I think you said wash it for me. He's a good lad. Okay. So it's deflated slightly, which is fine. But we need to grab it and we need to roll it. Okay. You want to let it cool for a few minutes, but then we need to get a fresh tea towel. Fresh tea towel. And corn flour, cornstarch. Blah, 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 blah. Where you at? Like this. Okay, so this is gonna be the bottom, so we need to flip it over onto here. So, clean tea towel, dish towel, whatever you wanna call it. Okay, like that. Corn flour or cornstarch. So I don't use, shit, too much. I don't use icing sugar, powdered icing sugar, because it's got sugar in it and sugar's hygroscopic and it can go like wet and moist. So I use corn flour, okay? So if I roll it that way, yeah. So what you wanna do, flip it over. And we want to work while this is still warm, we want to roll it up. Okay. A little bit of this. I'm going to put that back on and we're going to roll this up, okay? Yeah, no. Yeah, okay. Okay, so that's gonna get it ready and it's gonna let it cool in that curved shape so that it doesn't crack. What is really important with a roll cake is that you kind of train it to roll, because if we've got a sponge cake that cools down and solidifies, when you go to roll it, it will just crack. So whereas this, we're kind of training it before we unroll it, fill it, then roll it back up. It kind of keeps that shape ready. You know, it's prepared itself for its final form. Cool? Like that. Put aside. Cute or care. So, cream cheese frost, or, you know, whipped cream frosting. Alrighty. Went over us. I actually contacted Jamie says I wouldn't trust Australia Post with food. I once sent Molly some Bundaberg mince pies and they got smashed. Yeah, I get that. But I actually inquired. A company wanted to pay us to make a cake here on stream and then send it over to Sydney for an event. And so I contacted multiple companies and to get quotes, and a lot of them don't do refrigerated transport, and it was really tricky. Australia Post didn't do it. A lot of the bigger companies didn't do it. You had to get like a smaller agency, and they don't offer insurance for that type of thing. And I got told basically by Australia Post, Star Trek, and Toll, I think, that they don't even recommend. I rang the office and they were like, we don't trust our staff basically to look after, like they don't offer that type of insurance for food stuff because it's not fragile. Sorry, that's what I meant to add, fragile. They don't do fragile packaging and insure it to be fragile. What is the word, like a fragile package. They won't. They just basically, two ladies said to me, she's like, we don't trust the ground handlers at the airport, and it to be treated with respect or to be treated as fragile. It probably would have been cheaper, yeah, for us to fly over. Yeah, one day I floated the idea. yesterday with the company. I was like, oh, one day, maybe. That would be amazing to fly over and do an in-person event. Pop it in a padded post bag, a fragile sticker on it, she'll be right. But it all comes down to your packaging as well. I sent cookies all the way to Sweden and they made it perfectly. It's all, I packaged them basically individually with those moisture, what are they called? The moisture silica bead things. I put them in each cookie package. Heaps of bubble wrap in a tin. Tin had bubble wrap, and I shipped them all the way to Sweden and another one to the US, and they got there fine. I sent them to Dex. Dex asked me to send him cookies. He paid me to send him cookies, and they turned out good. I used to work for Toll, can confirm I would not be sending cakes with them. Yeah. Yeah, true, J-Mode, yeah. Yeah, you gotta, it's hard. Sending stuff is hard, and relying on companies and things. But going back to that cake, the company still paid us to make the cake on stream, and they still paid for me to make it the same price that we quoted, even though I didn't have to send it. So it was great. Where can we order cookies? If you guys are interested, we might do a round of maybe at the end of May or something, after my week off. If you guys want cookies, there'll be like a price, and you have to pay shipping and whatnot. I'll quote you if you're interested, and we can send cookies to wherever you are. It was a bit of fun with Dex, and it got there. We could do it like maybe once or twice a year if it works. Could do like a cookie drive, or like a Christmas time would be really cool. Doing like a cookie box. Would you guys be interested there?
Delicious.
What's that?
8 months high. I'm lurking just eating lunch before I leave to go for my exam in 10 minutes. Hope you're all well.
Thank you for the resub. I ate some chicken from the fridge and I had a bone in it. 8 months. Thank you for being here. Good luck for your exam. Wishing you all of the knowledge, and it all comes too easy. When I was at school, my mum always said to me, say to yourself, the answers come to me easy. The answers come to me easy, and then they will. Manifest it and it'll come to you. I would. Nito, you want some cookies? Hey, Stace. Okay. I don't know how old this is. No, that's that one. That's good. This one's no good. No. Okay. Strawberries. I want to learn how to do sugar cookies for Christmas. It's something definitely we can do. We'll probably start making cookies around November. We're going to do a lot of cookies over Christmas, leading up to Christmas. Okay, strawberries, they look pretty good. We're going to slice these up and put them in our cake. Cream, we better get virtual baker. So we used to do this thing called Make with Molly, or community cook up. It started as Make with Molly, where I used to release a recipe and used to try and get people to get involved in cooking along with me, and like we do like a virtual cooking class. And then there was a few people, but it was really sad. People, like, not as many people. You know, it's hard. I get that you know, time zones and things like that, but we just didn't have as much involvement. So then we did, rather than in-person cooking class, we did a theme for the month, and people would do, like, I'd release recipes, or we'd say, like, the theme for the month is pizza or cookies, and people could submit, you know, things and submit different foods they made. It was a lot of fun, but it's hard with involvement. Trying to figure out how we can get more people involved with events would be amazing. Okay, cream cheese. If I was cream cheese, where would I be? What is on vacay? Yes. Alrighty. I actually start making rumbles around November. Nice. Can we do a quarterly make with Molly? So, what do you mean, like an actual cooking, like cook along, or a theme, like a community cook-up theme? I was planning on joining Make with Molly when solo servings was released. Don't make me feel guilty like that, Dex. Solo servings was an idea for our next cookbook, but we're not doing a cookbook, so especially self-publishing again. We have, it's the outlay of the price and everything, and having the stock in our house, it's just too tricky. And I'd rather release free recipes that you guys can get your hands on now. But I do plan on doing solo portions on the website. Oh. It's in my ear. Sort ear. Wash my hands. But there isn't a reason why you can't create a recipe and divide it into one portion, divide it into from 4 to 1. Okay, so I'm thinking for that cake, I'm gonna go 1.5 cups of cream. Yeah, and then 2 tablespoons of cream cheese. An actual cook along with the theme. Like, you guys get the ingredients. So I have a plan. I had the idea to do